Jerusalem is the city chosen by God himself. On Mount Zion in Jerusalem the Lord dwelt in the temple, and in Jerusalem Jesus accomplished his work, and there Jesus will return. But what was the first and true reason why God chose Jerusalem and Mount Zion? I'm sure you'll be surprised to find out. There are three main reasons why God chose this city. One of these reasons is revealed at the end of Psalm 78. The Lord rejected the tent of Joseph and did not choose the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Judah, Mount Zion, which he loved. He chose David his servant and took him from the sheepfolds to shepherd his people Israel. It is amazing to understand that God chose Jerusalem because of David. Yes, first David was chosen because he was a man after God's own heart. Then David moved to Jerusalem, and only then did God choose Mount Zion in Jerusalem as the site for his temple. Basically, God wanted to dwell with David, this man truly after his own heart. But through David, God is only reconfirming an earlier choice of this place. 2 Chronicles chapter 3 verse 1 tells us that Solomon built the house of the Lord in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah. So Mount Zion is the same as Mount Moriah, where Abraham sacrificed his only son, Isaac. So this place became special to God's heart before David, and because there Abraham did not spare even his only son for the sake of God. However, why did God ask Abraham to sacrifice Isaac on Mount Moriah? Because the one who encouraged Abraham on the total path of faith was none other than Melchizedek, the priest of God and king of Jerusalem, as told to us in Genesis 14. Then, at the sacrifice of Isaac, Abraham desperately needed the memory of Melchizedek's model, so God brought him to Mount Moriah, which was part of Jerusalem, over which Melchizedek reigned. Here, then, is the first reason why the Lord chose this city. Melchizedek himself, the very first king over Jerusalem mentioned in the Bible, and the first priest of God on earth. Indeed, Melchizedek was a man of greater faith than Abraham, and who guided Abraham in the process of his spiritual growth. Abraham was blessed by Melchizedek, and then gave Melchizedek a tenth of everything, thus recognizing Melchizedek as the mediator between him and God. Melchizedek sought the Lord so deeply that he was appointed by God as his first priest on earth over 500 years before the priesthood established by Moses through the law. Melchizedek was also such a good and wise king that he transformed Jerusalem into a place of righteousness and peace. That is why his name means King of Righteousness and Peace. Yes, because of Melchizedek, Jerusalem first became a special place for God's heart. And now we understand why God also chose Canaan as the promised land for Abraham. God brought Abraham from Ur to Canaan precisely because in Canaan the great Melchizedek already reigned over Jerusalem. Canaan was already a place set aside, and Abraham desperately needed to know Melchizedek so that, with his help, he could complete the path of faith to the end, to the climax of offering his only son as a sacrifice on Mount Moriah in Jerusalem. God therefore chose Jerusalem because of the people who manifested in that very place their total and absolutely fabulous dedication to God, David, and before him Abraham, and before him none other than Melchizedek. Let us follow the example of these men of faith to rejoice the heart of God once again. Amen.